Welcome to the Collide Kids podcast, hosted by Christen Clark. This is a show for kids and families. You are going to meet new people and have fun while you listen. Let's do it!
Hey y'all, welcome to the Collide Kids podcast. I'm your host, Christen Clark. The Collide Kids podcast is a show for kids and families where we learn together how life and faith collide. If this is your first time listening to the Collide Kids podcast, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening today. Hey, be sure to stick around to the end. That's when we have our kids only segment where kids just like you get to be on the podcast. Well, I've said this before, but one of my favorite things is learning about other people's jobs. And I'm especially honored when I get to meet people that serve the community, like teachers, firefighters, medical professionals, or pilots. In fact, I interviewed a pilot in episode 4, Jason Rackley, and I also got to interview a firefighter in episode 24. You can hear both of those if you go back a few. But today, my special guest is a police officer, and her name is Marquida Armstrong. Marquida is a Wake County deputy from North Carolina. She has been in law enforcement in Wake County for 9 years, including 3 years as a student resource officer. And let me tell you, she loves what she does. She is a graduate of Peace College and a mother of 2 amazingly talented daughters. And she also volunteers at her church as a referee for youth sports ministry, and she sings in the choir. I love that. I think police officers have such an important job to do, and so I'm so excited to hear from someone that just is so passionate about her job and what she does to serve her community. So here is my conversation with Marquida Armstrong. Marquida, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Me too. Hey, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, this is awesome. I am really excited to talk to you about your job. I think you have a really awesome job, and I can't wait for you to share it. So will you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Hello, everybody. My name is Marquida Armstrong. I am a Wake County deputy, sheriff's deputy. I guess what that means that I'm in law enforcement. I love my job. It's totally awesome. So I started out I worked at a detention center, which is, jail.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at a jail for about 3.5 years and decided that I wanted to do more. So I worked in the jail, and I basically worked in every position that I possibly could because I wanted to learn like a lot more. So law enforcement is not just, somebody on the road, stopping cars. Law enforcement is much, much bigger than just that. And some would say that working in jail is also law enforcement because technically you are enforcing the law because there are laws and rules everywhere, So working in the jail, I work from, the pods where they stay at, to working in, it's called receiving. So when somebody first get arrested and they come in, you book them in. I did the processing paperwork from their conditions, meaning this person in jail for this long, and you have to put, information in the system. I've done that. I was on, it's called a DRT team, which was detention response team. I was part of that. I was one of few females that was on that team, and I loved it, actually. To be honest, you got a chance to talk with individuals that, well, some would say was causing problems, but sometimes there's always a root, to everything. And sometimes I was able to just talk to them, hey, what's going on? Calm down. And you get the root, and it's like, oh, that wasn't worth it, was it?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed my time working in the jail, but again, I worked in so many different positions. I'm like, hey, I want to try out to be a deputy. And basically a deputy is the law enforcement officer that work in the county areas,
Okay.
So Wake County is huge. I didn't realize how huge it was, but is really huge. You have your town police officers, you have the city police officers. So we actually do the outskirts of everything. We also do civil process and paperwork, anything from child support to subpoenas, meaning, hey, you got to come to the court for something, or so a wide variety of everything.
That's
I can give you some
amazing.
specifics if someone would ask, but it's a
Yeah.
lot. I can keep talking.
Yeah, I think that's amazing because I think a lot, like you said, a lot of people picture law enforcement or police officers as one thing, but there's so many different aspects to that. Okay, I want to get into all of that in just a minute, but before we do that,
Yeah.
because this is a kids podcast, we always like to start with something fun. So, do you have a joke you want to share with us?
Yeah. So listen. You got to think, right? You ready?
Okay,
What do you call 3 holes in the ground?
3 holes in the ground. I don't
Yeah,
know.
3. Well.
Ah,
It's a hole in the ground.
that's a
I
good
cracked
one.
myself up, man. Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious. Well. All right. That's fun. Okay, so okay, tell us about like how you decided, like when you were younger, did you want to be a police officer? Was that something that you wanted when you were a kid?
So honestly, I was that kid. I wanted to do everything. Like I wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to be EMS. I wanted to be a firefighter. Like all in one. I'm like, why can't I be all 3? I want to do this, right? And so on my mom's side of the family, they were all nurses. My grandmother, from anywhere from CNA ones or techs or LPNs, whatever. That was on my mom's side of the family, including my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so on my dad's side of the family, it was military. My uncle was a police officer and football, and that's just how it was. So I think that just on both sides of the family, I just always wanted to be. I don't necessarily want to say someone in authority, but it's like someone in authority and helping.
Yeah.
So I'm a nurturer by heart, by nature. I'm definitely a nurturer. And then my mom got a really bad accident in like '97, and I remember being in middle school, and I would have to help her bathe every morning before we went to school.
Wow.
And so I wanted to be a nurse, but it was just like, I don't know, I want to be a police officer. So I basically just picked a career. I got married right in college when I was in college, and I had my 2 daughters, and I started with security at first, and then Apex
Mm-hmm.
High School as a security officer. And I would sit and talk to the police officer that was there, which he was the school resource officer, the SRO. And I said, you know what? I want to be an SRO. And let me tell you, maybe 6 years, 7 years after that day, I started working at the sheriff's office, became school resource officer. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it just happened. I mean, man, it's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. And so that makes me feel really good actually to hear that you are a police officer, you're a sheriff deputy, and you are a nurturer.
I love people. I really do.
Yeah, you want to help people, you want to jump in. Tell us like what it's like. Like what's a typical day like for you as a deputy? We'll be right back after this. You know, raising kids in the digital age isn't easy, but Bark Technology makes products that help parents keep their kids safe online and in real life. They have an app, a phone, and a home device that lets families set parental controls on their internet-connected devices. I love the app because it helps us manage screen time and blocks websites and apps we want our kids to avoid. It also sends alerts and gives us the ability to monitor texts and social media and even track your child's location. Visit bark.us to learn more about how you can keep your kids safe online. Use the code COLLIDEKIDS to get 15% off your subscription of the Bark app.
Well, actually, I put in to be an investigator, so and so now there's a lot more paperwork, a lot more one-on-ones with certain people, So, but when I first started out, I was in the courthouse, which was pretty good,
Uh-huh.
because you learn so much of the lingo, I would say,
Okay.
with being a law enforcement officer. It's a lot of just stuff that you like knowing the law. So we was in the courthouse for a little while, and then we went out on the road for a little while as a patrol officer. I mean, anywhere from stopping cars to answering calls. So if you're in trouble, you call 911. We'll come and check you out. It's like, hey, is everything okay? You
Mm-hmm.
know. So after I did that for a little while, I became an SRO, which is a school resource officer, which is great. I enjoyed it. Again, I had an opportunity to be with kids.
Mm-hmm.
I had an opportunity to be with the talk to the moms, the parents. Just being able to again nurture and help. So it was just down my alley. And then after SRO, like I said, I put in for investigator, so I'm working on that aspect and just being able to help people to get out of their situation.
Yeah.
It's not always bad as far as like being a police officer. It's not always bad. We are placed in our positions to help. We are there to help. You're in a
Yeah.
bad situation. I'm going to find a way to, get you in a program or whatever, my criteria, whatever criteria I have, I'm going to try to find that way to make your life, a little better. If you work with me, you got to do the steps, you got to
Mm-hmm.
work hard. And if you're working, I'm working.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you have to go through like the police academy or like really intense training when you first started?
Yes. Now, you guys don't like to get up early. Let me tell you. Ooh, I didn't either. So, yeah, we had to get up super early. Like we are exercising at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Ooh.
an hour, 6 to 7. Boom, you are. Let me tell you, the biggest thing for me was running. I remember running 5 miles, and I'll probably never do it again. Not really, but yeah. So it was pretty intense. It was so you do your physical part in the morning, like your exercising, push ups, sit ups, running, squatting, lifting weights, because you got to be in the physical shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that hour, we will come in and hit the books because you got to learn the laws, you got to learn what not to do and what to do in situations. And we also had a part of training where it's like how to, what do you call it? How to defend yourself. Like, say if
Okay.
you was attacked, or you definitely don't want nobody to grab your weapon. You got to be able to maneuver your body around safely so you won't get hurt. Stuff like that. So yeah, training was really intense, but good. It's something you need. It was good.
Yeah, I think we
I
we
enjoyed
all are in situations like sports and school, like you need that training in order to be good at what you want to do. So that's good to know that all of our police officers had to go through that.
Oh
um,
yeah.
so tell us, like, what is it that you love about being a police officer?
I think like I'll just go back and say I love being able to meet so many different people
Hmm.
from so many different backgrounds. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
always learning something.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like even today, I'm always learning something new or different about somebody else or about something that I can apply to myself or my family.
Yeah.
I'm always learning consistently, and sometimes this is my biggest thing. Stereotypes.
Mm.
Stereotypes is big, and if we will all be honest with ourselves, we all do it. But we have to be careful because if you have a perception about a group of people, or like or anything specific that pertains to a group of people, um, you got to be careful of how you perceive that person prior to understanding what's going on. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, then it could be very bad. And again, police officers, we're not here. We're not in this profession to like be mean or cruel or anything like that.
Right.
We're definitely here to not only teach, we're here to help.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to learn. So if we're learning the different cultures and different people, then we're more apt to help successfully, you know? So
Yeah.
I think just learning new things and being around different types of people is literally what gets me. And that may not even sound like really cool or like being in law enforcement, but that's what I get out of it. Like even like today, I love what I do. Even now, it can get crazy in a split second, but I'm telling you, like I love it. I met an awesome couple today, and I met a nurse not too long ago, and I'm gonna be calling her in the next couple of days just to say hey and check up on her. I'm telling you, you
Yeah.
just never know who you meet. So I love it.
That's that's so cool. What is it about your job that you don't like, or what's something that's really hard about being a police officer?
That's a good question. Well, I will say this. I think well, I know. So growing up, I was that kid that was very gullible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and for some reason, I believe that everybody is good. Everybody does good. Period. So the hardest part for me is looking at someone and they're legit lying to you, and I'm like, I'm trying to trust this person. I'm
Yeah.
trying to trust you, and you have to do what you have to do as far as your job. Like, you know, this person may not have the resources or the money to do whatever, but now you
Mm-hmm.
got to get this person a ticket
Yeah.
because of the circumstances. Like, you have to do your job. So sometimes doing my job as I should, um, it gets to me sometimes when you have people that may not deserve it, but because of their actions, they did deserve it.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, we'd like to believe that everyone is gonna be honest with us, or everybody's gonna try to want the best outcome.
yeah,
And so when that doesn't happen, when it's just like with your kids, like when you see like they've made a mess and they're standing in the mess, and you're like, "Did you make
yeah,
a mess?" And they're like, "No, wasn't me."
yeah,
So to see adults like that, I'm sure is pretty difficult.
yeah. That's definitely the hard part for me. It's like, the fact that most of the people I deal with are adults, and you know what happened, you know what took place, but yet you try to alter your story or basically lie to, get out of it. But hey, there's consequences for everything, and that's, if nothing else, everybody, whoever's listening, consequences. Like, just be careful what you do. Make sure you're truthful.
Yeah, I think
Make sure you're truthful. Yeah.
that's a good word. Has there ever been a time where you felt like you were really afraid or you were worried about going into a situation?
Yeah. Even in the beginning of training, when it's called FTO, like field training, we went to a call. I think the call said shots fired in the neighborhood, like, someone was shooting. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I said a prayer on the way going. I was like, Lord Jesus, we don't know where we going, and where these people are at. Like, protect us. Let somebody see the person before.
Yeah.
So, oh man, that definitely made your hair stand up on your neck. And it was right. It was true. Somebody was out there shooting, and they shot up a house, and
Wow.
so that was very nerve wracking. Matter of fact, here's one. Here recently, the Wake County Sheriff's Office was shot up. It was a drive-by.
Really?
And matter of fact, October the 6th, I'll never forget. We was all working. I was in the lobby. I had just walked in. Somebody had an interview with the sheriff or a meeting with the sheriff, and I walked in to let the sheriff know, his secretary know that, his appointment was there, and you can hear it pop, pop, pop like that. I'm like, oh, those are gunshots. And I remember running out. And you know how you're watching the movie, how those action movies, people, when you hear gunshots, you see people diving and ducking. Oh, that was so real.
Wow.
We would have never thought of that in a million years that would happen downtown Raleigh at the sheriff's office, but it did. Like, somebody literally was driving and the other person had a gun and reached out and was like, just shot up the whole place, you know.
Wow.
It made you think. Like I said, when I heard the gunshots, I'm running now. I remember grabbing the guy. I'm like, get down, like, come in. I pull my gun out. I'm running out. We're trying to find this person, and it was just blurred from there. It was like stuff like that happens in law enforcement, and
Yeah, it sounds
yeah,
like you have to be really brave all the time.
exactly. Yeah, you really do, and that's where
Yeah.
your training comes in, and if you, I don't know what everybody believe in, but hopefully you believe in God, and that's when you gotta keep praying and have a relationship with God, because you just never know when you definitely need to call on Him. You need for Him to protect you.
Is there like a Bible verse or something that you hold on to or something you think about when you go into those situations?
One particular one just literally popped up. It's in Isaiah 26:3. He will keep you in perfect peace if you keep your mind stayed on Him. Like, He's definitely a peacekeeper. If you focus on God, just
Mm,
knowing that God will make a way, God will get you out of a situation. That goes back to you literally having a relationship with Him, talking to Him every day, praying, um, seeking His face. Like, He will keep you in perfect peace. But if you're not even thinking about God until something happens, how is it you can go ask Him to give you peace? I mean, that situation I was talking about, when there was a drive-by shooting in October, like, since I was talking about it, I'm just thinking about all these things again. Like, man, I almost got shot, or these people almost died. Like, that right there will send you into depression. It will,
mm.
like, Satan can take a hold of those thoughts and just, you know, your life will spiral out of control. So that's definitely one of my go-to scriptures is Isaiah 26:3.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
love
gotta
that
have
verse.
the peace of God. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that it says he'll keep you in perfect peace. So it's not just about he'll give you a little bit of peace.
It's
Perfect
the
means
Yeah,
complete. It's the best kind of peace you could ever have. That's what he'll keep you in.
and it's the peace for you specifically,
Yeah.
right? Because different people go through different things, and I'm pretty sure the officers that was out there, and even the civilians that was out there, something different probably ran through their minds. What ran through my mind was my kids. It wasn't even me. It was like my kids at home. I
Hmm.
knew they were safe, but I'm thinking about them. So I needed the peace of God in that area. Like, hey, they're okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Knowing that God got you, I'm telling you, that's exciting. God got me, man. He's my friend. He got
Yeah.
me.
He's got you. I love that. Okay, so I do need to ask this question.
Okay.
Do police officers really like donuts?
Stop it. Oh, man. Okay. I have to be honest, right? First, I'm gonna tell you this story.
Okay.
So when I became an official law enforcement officer, I said I would never, never, ever go to Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme in uniform. Okay? I said I would never do that.
Uh-huh.
Number two, I went to Peace College, which is it's walking distance to Krispy Kreme. So that's the answer to that question. I love donuts with my being. I love fresh donuts. I love different types of donuts. I love raspberry filled
Ooh.
donuts on Krispy Kreme, and you have to warm it up. So yes, I love donuts, and yes, I am a police officer, and yes, I fail at not going in uniform.
You said you'd never do it and you did it anyway, but they're
I
so
did. I
good.
was like, you
They're
know
so
what?
good.
Forget it. With coffee, coffee is everything.
Oh, yeah. Now I want one. I need to go get one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
gotcha.
awesome. So, has there ever been a time as a police officer where you've been able to use your faith or talk to someone about God while you were doing your job?
Yes. Okay, so recently I used to work in like the pistol permit area. If you want to purchase a handgun, you have to come down to the sheriff's office and apply for a handgun permit. And
Mm-hmm.
so I worked in there for about 4 months, and I know all the lingo and everything. So I'm helping this lady. She comes down, and she just looks worried anyway, frustrated, which most people are, because everyone is afraid now.
Yeah.
And she's like, she sounds a little bit on the privileged side. You know how people do. Like, I'm gonna go in there and do this, and I'm like, ma'am, you can't go in. COVID season, and everything. I'm trying to explain to her and talk to her, and she was being a little pushy.
Yeah.
And sometimes as a police officer, you don't really know what people are thinking. And it's like everybody expects you to be able to diffuse every situation. So in this instance, she had scrubs on, and she was like, well, I need to get in there and I need to do this, and I'm supposed to be doing this. So long story short, we was talking, and now I have to be firm with her. I said, ma'am, you can't do this. We have to do this. This is the way we have to do it. And she started her, welling up, I could see it in her eyes. She's tearing up. And I'm like, man, what's going on with this lady? And she was like, look, I'm just frustrated. I don't know. And she's like getting a little loud. So I'm frustrated. And I'm just trying to get this done. And you're telling me I can't do it. And this happened. And I'm a nurse. And when she said she's a nurse, I'm like, okay, she's a nurse. She's frustrated. And I'm like as she's talking, I'm putting pieces together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. Now I'm trying to calm myself down, because at that point she had got me, to a level I didn't want to be, because I just knew. I'm like, ma'am, you can't go in, regardless of what story you make up. You can't
Mm-hmm.
go in right now, because we have to keep, distance. When I tell you that lady, she was like adamant about doing what she wanted to do because she was frustrated. And I said, ma'am, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I said, we're all in the same boat, right? I said, we both work on the front lines, and I appreciate what you do as a nurse, but as a law enforcement officer, I'm out here as well. And I understand the COVID situation. I said, but I too have children at home. I too have to deal with public. I too have to deal with the COVID situation. But I'm letting you know, we're in the same boat. We have to work together, and I promise you, I can get you in as soon as possible, but you have to calm down. And she looked at me and she was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm telling you, by the time we finished that conversation, she said, ma'am, can I give you a hug? I was like, sure. And when I embraced her, she was bawling. She cried on my shoulders in my uniform,
Yeah.
just right there. And I just took that moment. At that point, honestly, I didn't even care how many people was out there. I was like, man, you can't cry out here like this. You're making me cry. I'm in uniform. And everybody just started laughing, right? But it was everything, just to show the love, to let her know, hey, it's okay.
Mm.
We're all in the same boat. And I know that came from God. I don't have a scripture, but it just came from God, because at first she had my blood pressure going up. I'm like, ma'am, chill. But at the end, the embrace, that agape love, that embrace that I gave her, um, I truly believe that she knew that God lived in me,
Mm.
because of the way we embraced. And I got her phone number, and I think I spoke earlier about somebody I was supposed to call her back. She's a lady. I'm gonna call her back to check on her.
That's
And
really cool.
yeah, and that is why I like being a public servant. That's why I like being a police officer, because I can do that. I can check on that person, so they won't think they're alone in this crazy world. We're here together. That's what we're supposed to do, even in the body of Christ.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's awesome. And I can't imagine that was probably a beautiful scene just to see two frontline workers, a nurse and a police officer hugging, and that I bet that was a good situation for everybody to witness. That's awesome. What's one thing that you wish people knew about police officers? Like you were saying earlier, the hard thing is the stereotypes. And I feel like there's some people that have a stereotype about police officers. What's something that you wish people knew?
I want to say I wish they know more so than I wish they understand that we are human. We're human. We literally do everything you do. So we're heroes. The kids want to be us, then we're people that we have to be robots. We have to be there to help regardless. So if people will fall back and see and understand that we are humans,
Mm-hmm.
that is like just understanding the most important thing to me. Like meaning we fall short as well.
Yeah.
Like we don't know everything, but we try to go off our training. We try to make split decisions in the heat of the moment. We have to make a decision and we have to be right.
Well,
So if you think about putting yourself in that position where it's something tight and it's like hurry up, you got 5 seconds to think. Actually you got 2 seconds to think and it gotta be right or it's life or death. How would you feel?
yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna save this person or save that person? How if you have 2 children, which one are you gonna save first? Like decisions like that is what officers have to deal with, that pressure. And not to mention you can't even think about your family. When you're in a tight situation, you have no room to think about yourself or your family because number one, you were placed in that position for a reason because you can think about somebody else other than yourself. So a lot of times, no understanding police officers are selfless, especially at situations that you call them for. 911, we're there for you. We don't know what we're walking into. Traffic stop, we stop you because if you think about it, instead of you saying, oh, they stop us messing with us, we're stopping you to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
Because our job is not to give you a ticket. Our job is to make sure you're safe and the other motorists are safe. If you're running a red light, we don't necessarily, it don't say you shall give them a ticket. It doesn't say that anywhere. It's basically the officer's discretion. However, you broke the law. Now, does that mean I can lecture you? I can. Because typically I do. Don't let me stop you because I'm going to lecture you because that's what I do. So this guy, he was speeding. And he was just, it wasn't really bad, but he was just weaving in and out. He was just trying to hurry up. And it happened to be a Wednesday night. And most of the time, Wednesday night is Bible study night. I pulled him over and I introduced myself, let him know who I was, and I asked him, did he know why I stopped him? And I think, Joel Osteen was on his radio. I heard a scripture and he was talking about God. And I said, sir, where are you headed? He said, I'm on my way to Bible study. I said, you know what, sir? I am too. Have a good night because I don't have time to write you a ticket. He busted out laughing. I was like, drive safely. We pulled out and I got home and I went to Bible study.
There you go.
That's right. So we do have that discretion, So like I said, we're human too. We understand. But my job, I did my job.
Right.
My job was to get him off the road, slowing him down. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a good thing to think about. Like the police officers are there to keep you safe. So their job is to make sure that you're okay and also to make sure that you're keeping everyone else safe as well. Well, this has been so awesome. I've learned a lot for sure. And I'm really thankful that you shared your story with us today. I always like to ask my guests at the end of the show to tell us a memory from when they were a kid. So do you have a memory from your childhood that you want to share with us?
So tons of memories, but anytime somebody asks me about my childhood, I think about my grandpa. I love him so much. He lives in Baltimore, Maryland. And now that he's older, I don't get to see him as often as I used to growing up. So I kind of spent all of my summers and anytime I was out of school in Baltimore with my grandfather. So on every Tuesday, we will go bowling. And every Thursday, we will go fishing. So my grandfather was a big fisherman. We would be on the pier in Baltimore, fishing, just fishing. And I remember one day I caught a catfish, big old catfish. And he was like, now put your hand in the water, wet your hand, and then, grab the top of the fish like that. Grab the fish off the hook. I did that, and apparently it wasn't wet enough. I don't know what happened, but the fin of that catfish cut my hand. And yeah, I never pulled another fish off the hook again. But it was the fact that he was right there, it's okay, you got to do it like this. And then, he took it off for me and wrapped my little hand up. And he used to play in the National Bowling League. He went to Reno, different places. He's a left-handed bowler, so I used to love just sitting back watching my grandfather bowl left-handed. So it curves. It's all beautiful, man. Oh yeah, so he's definitely a jack of all trades. He's an awesome guy.
That's
And I can't wait
awesome.
to go see him again.
Yeah.
I go like between 2 or 3 times a year. Travel up there to see my old grandpa.
Oh, that's really cool. And that's awesome that he would take you bowling and take you fishing and teach you the things that he loved to do, right?
Absolutely. That's what made the memory so great, because he don't have the grandsons that he probably wanted.
All girls, huh?
Oh yeah, it's just me and my sister. Yep.
Well, he sounds like a really good grandpa. That's really cool.
Definitely.
Well, Marquida, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for your service and what you do for your community, and just for what you shared today for police officers, I think.
Thank you. Hey, real quick, I want to share one scripture. This is also one of my favorites, James 4:6.
Yeah.
It says, but he gives greater grace. Therefore, he says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So you got to stay humble, man. Like, I get so excited, for the greater grace, like more grace, better grace, bigger grace, So don't be proudful, man.
Yeah.
Be humble. God got you. He'll give you peace.
That's right. God's got you.
Thank you so much for the invite again. This has been really fun. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome.
That was so fun. I loved learning about Marquida's job as a police officer. I love that she said she'd rather be lecturing people that break the law than actually giving out tickets. I would much rather receive a lecture than to get a ticket for sure. But it's important to remember that police officers have to do their job and they just want us to be safe. So that's why they do that. I love when she shared about when you're afraid or facing something big, remembering that God gives us peace. He gives us perfect peace, like that verse in Isaiah says, and he gives us perfect peace for us specifically. He knows exactly what you need and when you need it. And she kept saying, remembering that God's got you. That is so exciting to keep that in mind, to walk through your life, remembering that God's got you. That is a great reminder. Well, now it's time for the kids only segment. This is the part of the show where you get to be on the podcast. So I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend Graylan.
Hi, my name is Graylan. Today I'm gonna say Philippians 3:14. Philippians 3:14. I press on towards the goal for the prize of the upward call in God in Christ Jesus. Philippians 3:14.
Thanks, Graylan. That is a great verse. I'm so glad that you shared that with us today. Well, if you would like to be on the podcast, yes, I'm talking to you. If you would like to be on the podcast, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your favorite joke or your favorite Bible verse, or maybe there's a quote that you like that you want to share. Just have a grown-up help you go to my podcast website. It's anchor.fm/collidekidspod. And on that page, there's a place for you to leave me a message. If you need more information about this, you can can find all of this on my social media pages. I'm on Facebook at the Collide Kids Podcast or on Instagram at Collide Kids Pod. If you're enjoying this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with your friends and family. Let them know why you love it and what your favorite episode is. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so that new episodes will automatically load each week into whatever podcast app you're using. And give us a rating and a review on your podcast app. That actually does help other people find out about the show so they can listen too. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed learning about what it's like to be a police officer. I think today was so fascinating. And hey, remember, be safe, be truthful, and be humble. And don't ever forget that God has got you, right? Well, in case no one has told you today, let me be the first to remind you that God loves you so much. He's got you. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
You don't have to go very far looking for bad news because somehow it just finds you. So finding peace in the chaos can be really difficult, but it doesn't have to be because the River mobile app exists. The River is a Christian music radio station dedicated to playing music to help you get through life's toughest moments or life's happiest moments and everywhere in between. And all from artists who love Jesus and are real people just like you. Listening is easy. You can download it wherever you get apps from. Just search 1049 The River or listen online at riverradio.com. And know that The River is proud to partner with the Collide Kids Podcast.